This week's Parsha states at the very beginning, which is in the first triennial reading, because we're in the second, but it states, Basuli mikdash shachanti b'tocham, and they shall make for me a mikdash, a sanctuary, and I will make my Shekhinah, my divine presence, known in their midst. The portion goes on to describe the detailed building of this portable tabernacle, which was called a Mishkan. Notice that Mishkan and Shekhinah have the same Hebrew root. This portable sanctuary is the same which the Israelites would carry with them through the desert. Within this Mishkan, God would meet Moshe. It was a powerful physical symbol of God's presence among the people. This portable tabernacle became the model for the Holy Temple, the Beit HaMikdash, that King Solomon would eventually build in Jerusalem. And Solomon's temple became the model for the synagogues that Jews would build wherever they would dwell. The ancient portable Mishkan became a way to sanctify space. The tabernacle was holy, and in the center was Kodesh, Kodeshim, the Holy of Holies, where the tablets of Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments, were kept. The Beit HaMikdash in Jerusalem also had a Kodesh Kodeshim, where only the high priest could enter, and only on Yom Kippur. In our synagogues today, the Aron Kodesh, the Holy Ark, is the holy space in which we keep our Sifrei Torah, our Torah scrolls. The message is that the Jewish people can create a holy space, a physical area sanctified and set apart from other spaces. Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel wrote one of his many books called The Sabbath, describing the power of the seventh day. He compared the Sabbath to the building of the tabernacle. He called it a tabernacle in time. Rather than only sanctifying space, each week we Jews also sanctified time. In fact, the same activities used by the ancient Israelites to build the tabernacle in space are known as the Av Malachot, the major categories of work activities we Jews avoid when we spiritually observe and remember Shabbat, our tabernacle in time. Judaism has always understood the relationship between space and time. How should we understand space and time in our own time? The founder of modern physics, Sir Isaac Newton, saw space as a great empty stage on which events would take place. He saw time as a universal clock, clicking away from the distant past to the distant future. Space and time would exist even if nothing else did, according to Newton. They are the arena in which everything happens. Sir Isaac Newton's nemesis, the brilliant philosopher Gottfried Leibniz, disagreed. To Leibniz, space exists only with the presence of matter, and time only exists with the presence of motion. There is no empty space and time, only space and time filled with activities and events. Later on, the philosopher Immanuel Kant radically rethought all of knowledge. He taught that we can never know what space and time are in the real world. We can only know space and time through our own perceptions, which he called the phenomenal world. Space and time exist in the mind of the observer, said Kant. We humans perceive space and time. Kant's revolutionary ideas would lead directly to Albert Einstein. Einstein developed his theory of relativity by thinking about observers. One observer can see two events happening at the same time in two different locations in space. A second observer, moving in relation to the first, can see the same two events happening at the same location, but at different times. To Einstein, space and time were relative. Einstein built his mathematical calculations of the space-time continuum by combining them. His theory is based on the idea that there is neither space nor time, but that deep down space and time are part of the same entity. Rabbi Heschel compared space and time with respect to Shabbat. But Jewish tradition seems to have recognized Einstein's ideas a millennia before Einstein was born. The Hebrew word for the universe in space is olam. The Hebrew word for the eternity of time is also olam. The Hebrew language recognized that in some fundamental way, space and time are the same thing. Perhaps Einstein's Jewish upbringing, although not the most religious, helped him with this insight. And maybe the centuries-old argument between the respective merits of the scientific approach to the universe and the religious approach to the universe can now be reconciled. We Jews consecrate space, setting apart physical areas that are holy. We Jews consecrate time, setting aside days on the calendar that are holy. Maybe Rabbi Heschel, as a person of faith, and Professor Einstein, as a person of science, both recognized the same concept. The sanctity of time and the sanctity of space are inseparable aspects of the wondrous universe that surrounds us. Shabbat Shalom.
Yashikor.
Shabbat Shalom.
Good to you.
Yashikor.
Yashikor.
Good to you. I'm glad we finally settled this.